But
Oh, I thought you were serious. I mean, my only point of reference is this meeting, and you were early, so.
I could have really ran with that. I could
have. Nice. All right. Welcome, everybody. Hi, Sean. If you want to unmute yourself and you can check your audio. Hi. Sound good?
How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. I'm Adair. This is Michael. You guys probably know Andrew. We're the Second Nature XChange partnership that's going to run the call today, and we're just checking in on audio as everybody comes in. So as you come in, if you want to just say hello really quick, unmute yourself, and then you can mute yourself back. We'll check your audio.
Do I get some kind of award for having the coolest headset?
Definitely.
You get
Absolutely. 5 stars.
Since it's a virtual headset.
That's awesome. Hey, Carrie, I saw you unmute, so we'd love to just hear you say hi so we can make sure your audio is up and running. Oh, not hearing you yet. John, I saw you unmute as well. If you want to say hi.
Hi.
Hey, there you are. All good. I see Samantha as well. Samantha, you want to say hi so we can check your audio?
Hello.
Hi. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you. All right. Welcome, everybody. Happy to have you on the call today. Just getting everybody checked in, making sure audio is working correctly. Welcome, welcome.
People are joining the stream.
Awesome. Cool. Hello, YouTube world. We're happy you're there too. That's awesome. Cool.
Hey, as you guys are coming in, if you want to drop your location and business in the chat box, that would be great. We'd love for you guys to see from each other where you're coming from.
Cool. Welcome, everybody. As everybody's coming on, I'm Adair. We've got Michael. Most of you know Andrew. We're part of the XChange Second Nature partnership running these calls. Really good to see everybody. When you jump on, if you just want to say, unmute your audio and say hi really quick before you mute yourself.
Hello.
Hello, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Love the hair.
Thank you. A little messy today, but
love the color. It's gorgeous.
Thanks.
All right. And you guys can drop your location into the chat. Test out the chat.
I can find it on my phone.
Awesome.
Looks like Jeremy Pound has joined us. We'll make sure.
Hey, Jeremy.
What's going on, guys? You hear me?
Yep. Loud and clear. All good. Thank you.
Ben's here. Can you guys hear Ben?
Yep. We got you, Ben. Hi. Welcome, everybody. Nice to see everybody this afternoon. I'm Adair. We've got Michael. Most of you know Andrew from Second Nature. We're the XChange Second Nature partnership. We're going to run this call together today. Really happy to see everybody. If you want to unmute yourself and say hello as you jump on, and then drop your city and your business in the chat, that would be great. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the call.
Sean, hey, Deb. Hey, Stacy. Tons of friends on the call.
Fabulous. It's always good to see familiar faces, especially these days.
Absolutely.
Nice. Welcome, everybody. We're glad you're here.
Hey,
got people from all over the place. Illinois, Charlotte, Tampa, Mesa, Arizona, Marietta, Georgia. Hey, you're my neighbor. I live right in the city. Silicon Valley. Welcome. Mountain House, California.
What's
Awesome.
up,
Welcome.
Jeremy? It's Chapin. How are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Good.
Good to hear from you. I can't find you on the Hollywood.
I know it's hard to find him on the screen, right? Cool. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. If anybody wants to pop in and check your audio really quick, you can just say hello and then put your city, state, and your business in the chat. That would be fabulous. Welcome, welcome. And you can also change the view of your screen. So you may have it on speaker view right now. Up in the top right hand, if you want to click all the boxes, you can get gallery view and look like you're on the Brady Bunch. Whatever feels good for you. I heard the gallery view causes more digital fatigue, but I like the gallery view because you can see everybody's faces at the same time. Welcome, everybody. If anybody is just joining us, if you want to say hello to check in on your audio.
Chapin, you got the full-on beard going, quarantine mode.
Yeah, I forgot to buy a razor 3 months ago whenever this started.
3 months ago. I
Not
love it. Yeah.
essential anymore.
Feels like it's been 3 months.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm Adair. We've got Michael. You guys all probably know Andrew from Second Nature. We're the Second Nature Exchange partnership that's running these calls and just getting everybody checked in with audio. You can also turn on your video if you're, showered, shaved, and ready. If you're not, that's cool. We don't need to see you. We definitely need to hear you though. So if you want to check your audio, feel free to unmute yourself and say hello, because we'll mute everybody out in here in just a second as we get started.
And Adair, I'm probably in about 60 seconds, just going to go ahead and kick off.
That is perfect. All
Smooth,
right. Well, in the
smooth,
meantime,
smooth.
just enjoy the music, do a little swaying, a little snapping. Gotta have some good energy going as we go into. Put in the chat box how many Zoom calls you've been on today. How many Zoom calls have you been on today? 7. Holy cow. 3, 3, 2, 4, 5, 2, 6, 4. Sweet. 5, 4. Nice. Yeah, Zoom is becoming our new best friend these days. It's great. I'm very grateful for Zoom. All right.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody. All right, Andrew. Are we good to go?
Yeah, if you want to hit the music. Perfect. All right. For those of you just joining us, you're welcome to put your name and location in the chat as just a way of saying hello to everybody. And so we know where you are, where you're from. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get this kicked off. All right. And Bob, I'm just going to task you with the meeting room or the waiting room, handling that. There's more people knocking on the glass trying to get in. All right. For those of you on YouTube also, welcome to the stream and excited to have you with us. You'll be hearing that about 8 seconds after I said it. And here's kind of the agenda for what we have going on today. All of the feedback that we're getting from you guys is what you love about this format is that it's not like a webinar. It's not like a webinar where you're sitting, or a podcast where you're washing dishes or walking your dog and you're listening, and 6 minutes into it, you realize your thoughts wander to how many rolls of TP you have under the counter, and you're checking back in, and it can be hard to stay engaged. What you're liking most about this format and the way we're doing this is that it's highly engaging, it's highly interactive, your voice is included, you're getting real-time feedback, and there's 2 big outputs that we're seeing are happening that people are really appreciating. Number one is, by hearing from other property managers from all over the country, one thing that we're establishing on these calls is what is ground truth? What is ground truth? What's really happening? What's really changing? To what level? At what property class is that happening, or in what areas? And when you're hearing about changes in California or in New York or Louisiana, et cetera, that, it can help you anticipate of what is going to be coming your way a couple of weeks from now, and that people are really appreciating hearing about that. So the second thing is, you guys are crowdsourcing solutions, and there's rapid change being enabled in your organizations because of all the great ideas that are being created on these calls. And the bonus of all this is, since it's such an interactive, collaborative format, what we're hearing from you is you love that you're connecting with other people right now, that the networking and the community building and all of that is really kind of happening simultaneously while we're doing those things. And I'll warn you, if you're not on mute, you just may, there we go. All right. Or I've got co-hosts out there who are just fast on the mute button. So great. I want to introduce Jeremy Pound, and we're going to start off. Jeremy's going to bring some insight and some thoughts. This is his world, the world of business development, client acquisition, whatever you call it. He's a CEO and founder of Rent Scale, super high character guy, very polished, presenter, great sales trainer. I know the people at Second Nature have even sat in on his PM sales training because it's just world class. And we want to know how you guys are approaching in the best property managers in the world are approaching business development and what strategies are being used. So I know he's going to talk about, the right mindset to have and the right mental approach to what's going on, as well as some practical, creative, or actionable, steps as a way of getting us kicked off. After Jeremy is done with his brief but powerful session to get us kicked off, we're going to move you into small groups and the solution circles that you guys have come to know and love. But we have a couple of tweaks, a couple of cool things we think you'll like, that you'll see towards the end of the meeting, that we think you're going to appreciate based on all the survey feedback. This is evolving as you tell us how you want it to evolve and where you want it to evolve. So with that, Jeremy, we'll do a quick sound check. Are you there?
I'm here, unmuted. I'm able to do that.
You look good. You sound good. Jeremy, do you need any further intro? Are you ready to go?
I think I'm ready to go. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me, Andrew. Love what you guys do at Second Nature. Very honored to be here. Glad to see a lot of familiar faces. And yeah, just, another Zoom call, right? This is reality these days. This is how we spend our time. I think my chair's got like a new, seat worn into it from sitting on it all day long. Got to get a standing desk. Got to start getting out of this chair a little bit. I see a lot of nodding heads. That's kind of like the general feeling that we've all been having lately. But I appreciate you guys coming. And if you're here, it means you're ready, to take ownership. And that's a big message. If you've seen me on Facebook, that's what we're talking about. It's about, there's some people are going to sit around and let this stuff happen to them. And there's other people that still know that they have control over their destiny and they're doing that. So, I really want to help with that today. So I want to make sure that we customize this for what you guys need. Obviously, if you don't know me, pretty much all I do is help property managers systematize their sales process, improve their sales process, hire business development managers / property management salespeople, whatever term you want to use, and then stay current and sharpen the saw and develop those skills over time. So that's my area of expertise. I want to be as valuable as I can be within that zone. So I want to hear from you guys. If you don't mind chatting in, is lead volume over the last month up or down? What was it down and has it come back? Is it crickets out there? Is it average? I've heard all kinds of answers. People have told me it's been better, it's been lower. So I'd love to hear from you guys. And as these kind of roll in, if anybody has any specific goal, something you want to get out of this, then go ahead and chat that in. And we kind of break and work. I'll look through those and make sure we can do that. So I see exactly busy, down. We've done this on our own webinars. I've seen a lot of majority is a little bit slower than usual, but for some reason, some people are really busy. So that's what I want to see. So I want to talk about lead flow being down, because that's something we've gotten a lot of phone calls, a lot of people reaching out and saying, how can we market during these times? What can we do? And I want to share with you guys a really simple concept that I've used personally to grow RentScale. RentScale just came to be about 18 months ago, and we built it into this company that we are today. We've helped about 100 property managers. Before that, I built an advertising agency. Before that, I had a consulting company that helped professional sales companies. So I know this world of professional service sales, and there's one concept that I come back to over and over again. And so if you guys know me and you follow me, you know that I'm a big reader, that I follow a lot of people. I'm constantly, trying to level up my sales game. And there's this one single concept that I always come back to. And every time somebody calls me, they said, okay, here's where we're at. How do we grow the company? We're not sure how to get more exposure, expand our reach, talk to more people, be more effective. I always come back to this one concept. And so I want to just share my screen with a quick little visual because it's easy to do. I think I can do that. Do you mind, Andrew, allowing me to share screen? I'll keep it PG-13 at the worst.
Hey, no problem. And you should be good now.
Okay, great. So if you've come to Sales Mastery, if you've seen me speak at any of the NARPM events, I mean, this is not a new concept, but it's that fundamental. I just want to spend 2 minutes going over it. So this pyramid is something that Chet Holmes put out in a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine. If you have not read that or listened to it, highly recommend it. So this is just a simple concept that this pyramid reflects makeup of any market that's out there. So whether it's Second Nature and Rent Scale trying to sell to property managers, or whether it's a car dealer trying to sell cars, or it's a property manager trying to reach, multi-unit investors in Northern Atlanta, everybody has a target market, right? And so if you don't have a target market, if you're not clear on who your customer is and how you're serving them, that's the first place that I recommend you start with. That's fundamental to what we do. But this is every market that's out there. So I'd ask you guys, before this chaos happened, you had people calling you, people filling out lead forms, and they were saying, hey, I have to move, I'm thinking about my home, or my lease is up, I've been self-managing, I've had a great tenant for 3 years, and now that they're leaving, I'd actually like to consider some assistance, right? So the top 3% of every market is out there looking for answers, right? They are actually actively buying in any single market. So those are the guys that 4.5, Geek Marketing, anybody that you're using to manage your pay-per-click, or if you're doing it yourself, these guys are out there looking for people that are Googling for property management, Salt Lake City, right? That's like 3% of the available market at any active time is actively searching. Now, right behind that is another 7% of the market. And that 7% is actually, they're open to it. They know their lease is coming up in 90 days. They have a tenant, and that tenant has been sporadic with their payment history. It's been a little more work than they thought it was. They're not actively deciding to change, but it's in the back of their mind. And so given the current landscape, if you pull up news, if you pull up the TV, if you pull up Facebook, everybody's freaking out. Nobody's going to pay rent. There's going to be rent strikes. That 7% right now may be actually a lot bigger than we ever thought it was, right? But this is just kind of the current market. So 3% are actively searching for it. That's what you guys are fighting over. That's what you're spending ad dollars on. 7% is on the fringe, okay? But that's 10% of the market. So that means that there's 90% of the available market that you're going after that's not actively filling out pay-per-click forms, actively looking for you. And so I want to just make sure you guys are aware of that and give you some strategies, because, I don't know about you. Like I said, I've used this to build several companies. If you told me I could go after, 10% of the available market, or, a substantially higher percent like 70, I'd want to know how to go after 70%. Okay. So who else is in the market, right? How do we think about these people? Well, the next most available, most pliable, exciting percent of the market is the next 1/3. So the rest of the 90% is basically broken into even chunks, about 1/3 apart. So 30% of the market has no freaking clue what professional property managers do. They're just oblivious to it, right? They started renting, they called a realtor, they said, no problem, I can help you with this. They literally have no idea that you exist. I promise you this. I see this every single day. There's so many people that have no idea you exist. Andrew, you can probably really relate to this. I mean, people aren't Googling how to get, filters for their rental properties, right? You have to go out, educate the market. Your 30% is probably much bigger because it's a revolutionary product. You're bringing something to there. But for property management, I truly believe it's about 1/3 of owners, give or take, just depending on what market we're in, they just don't even know you guys exist, okay? And they're just waiting to hear from you. They don't know about screening. They don't know about petscreening.com. They don't know about Second Nature solutions. They have no idea that, they can basically maximize their properties. There's tax exchanges. These things are not even on their radar. So we're going to talk about that today, because that's a really juicy population that we want to be targeting. So, all right, we're at 40% of the available market. The next 30% misunderstands what you do. They talk to a property manager who's really a real estate agent who managed 6 properties, and they didn't really have anything sexy or exciting to say to them, or they had, they worked with your competitor and it was a terrible experience, and they never answered the phone, and they didn't get any value, and they were just basically, felt like they were paying part of their rent but not getting any value from it. So I believe about 30% of the market that you're going after just completely misunderstands what you do. And then, you know what? The other 30% after that first 70%, these guys know they're not going to deal with you, right? Their brother-in-law owns a property management company. This is my girlfriend's dad. My girlfriend's dad is like 30 units in Boston, and he's still the guy that goes out every Tuesday night and takes the garbage out. He looks at hiring a property manager as lazy. Like, it's just his identity. He's never going to do it, right? So there's a chunk of the market that truly doesn't want to work with you, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, it's actually far less percentage of the market than you guys probably think it is. Okay. So here's the thing. When you call a marketing agency, they're focusing on the top 10%, right? I don't care who it is. They are trying to go out and they're trying to handle demand fulfillment. There is already demand. People are looking for what you're doing, and they're just trying to connect you and get you exposure. But there's another part of the market that you are responsible for if you're in sales, and that's generating demand. That's going out, educating people, and showing them that there's an opportunity to hire you for what you do. And so 60% of the available of the market is yours for the taking. Right now, this percentage may be bigger than ever, right? Because they're now more amenable to what you're saying. They're more confused. Certainty is at an all-time premium, right? Nobody is certain about anything these days, right? So you don't have to have all the answers, guys. You just have to have more answers than the owners, and that's going to make you valuable. And so we are encouraging our property managers. So I wrote this down, Andrew. You said the ground truth. I love it. I think I knew what that was immediately without any explanation. So we are encouraging all of our clients, all of our business development managers, salespeople for property managers, to have a meeting with their team on a weekly basis and say, in this fast moving environment, what are we certain about, right? We're selling certainty in professional service sales, and we can't sell what we don't have. So if we can't get certain on what we're teaching and what we're communicating, then that's not going to come off the way we want it to. So I encourage all of you guys to put a meeting on the calendar, even if it's 20 minutes, if it's a lunch. It's probably going to be a Zoom call. Hope you guys get a standing desk soon so you're not in your chair more than you want to be. But I am really encouraging all of my property management clients to have a meeting on a regular basis to say, what do we know now? Because we know that the overwhelming majority of information out there, we're uncertain about. We don't know what's going to happen. We know this is going to be 6 more days, 6 more weeks, 6 more years, right? I don't think it'll be the latter, but we just don't know. Here's some things I know we're certain of. People are going to look around after being quarantined for 60, 90 days, and probably the quality and the security of their home is going to be more important to them than ever, right? They're going to look around and say, okay, the kids came back from college. This house isn't big enough. I was already working on the process of getting a divorce. I have to get out of here. And I want to make sure now I'm going to look at my housing as not something not a bed that I sleep in, but a place that I'm spending potentially 24 hours a day in. So we believe people are going to value housing more. Here's something else I'm really certain about. It's going to be harder than ever to get a mortgage, right? We've already seen the news out there. We've already seen the information. People are going to need to rent more than they ever will, right? These are conversations I hope you guys are having internally. I believe that if I'm looking for a 12-month lease and I need a new property and I have a new job because I had to move, or my lease was up and the place I was at was just not satisfactory, I'm very comfortable watching a video tour, a virtual walkthrough, a voiceover video tour, and then maybe putting eyes on the property just one time. But I might actually be willing to sign that lease because I have a need to move. I know that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be willing to do contactless showings and actually sign up for that property. What I also believe is that if I'm buying that dream house, if I'm actually going to make a purchase for my family and it's a home that I expect to stay in for many years, I'm probably less excited about not seeing that property, right? So the demand for rentals, I believe, are going to go up during this time. People are going to say, instead of buying our dream home this year, since we can't really see it, we don't want to be comfortable seeing a bunch of homes, let's just rent one more year. So I'm adamant that I believe that the demand for rental properties are going to go up. And we also, I can't go into all the things I'm certain about, but I just want to give you guys a couple shades of what we're talking about with our clients. And I hope that you guys are having these conversations internally. And the whole point is that certainty and security is in high demand, and it's extremely scarce. And so whatever certainty you can provide to the market is going to make you more attractive. It's going to put you in a better position of selling. It's going to make you more valuable, build better relationships. So having said that, going back to the buyer's pyramid, 60% of the market is there, but they're not calling you. So the main questions I get is, what do I say to these people and how do I contact them, right? So that's what I really want to focus on next is if you believe that there's a big chunk of the market out there that you're not, hearing from, how do we find those people and what do we say to them? So I'd love to ask you guys and just kind of get this going. What are your thoughts when you see the buyer's pyramid, when you think about people that are not filling out lead forms, but they're perfect fits for what you do? Where do we find those people? Does anybody have any ideas they want to share?
Do you want people to unmute or put in the chat?
Totally up to you guys. However I guess maybe unmuting might turn into a circus. So maybe we'll just chat it in.
Sweet.
So what are your thoughts? When I say that there's 60% of the market out there that's ripe for the taking, what comes to mind? How do you guys think you can find them? Investor meetups, exciting, other investors, referrals. It's a great point. A lot of information out there. Wall Street Journal article, 1/3 of people didn't pay rent, right? People think nobody's paying rent. You guys know, I've been polling my clients, 88%, 92%, 95%. These are all numbers I'm hearing in single family housing for people paying their rent in April. So, that's just something, you tell your clients that they're going to refer their friends for sure. Eviction filings are not a terrible idea normally, a little bit hard to do right now, just given the moratoriums and the things we're doing, but those are great. Stacy, that's great. Referrals from CPAs, sales agents, insurance agents. I lump those together. I call them influencers, right? Influencers are anybody that won't buy from you, but they know people who can buy from you. They can make great contacts. So I love that. Alex says they're pulling list of self-managed properties from Zillow and sending them a postcard on a major discount for a year. So it's great. So I call that FRBOs, for rent by owners. These are people, they're probably in the 60% we talked about, right? They're the people who are doing it themselves because they don't know about you, or they're doing it because they misunderstand what you do. So that's fantastic. Now, I will say this, guys, if they're in the 30%, right? If they're in that chunk that thinks they don't want a property manager, a discount is not going to sway them, right? You've got to tell them something, show them something that they don't know to change their psychology around property managers and the way they think about it, right? Because they have some misconceptions. So discount's great if they're looking for a property manager, but I just want to stress that because I do feel like discount is that first lever everybody pulls. But if they don't if they don't think you're going to get them results, they don't care if they're paying you $10 or $1,000, right? They're just not going to do it. So just be careful when you think about discounts. If they're not sold on what you're doing, they don't care how cheap it is, right? That I always like to say, doesn't matter how great of a coupon is that the restaurant sends you that you had a terrible meal at, you're not going to go to the restaurant. No discount's going to get you back to a restaurant that you hated. So that's the analogy I always like to use. All right, so we reached out to current clients and we've picked up 4 active additional buyers looking for rentals. That's great. So excellent. So there's too many for me to read, and I apologize that, but these are great. So here's some of the strategies we're asking our clients to focus on, okay? Most of us have a Lead Simple account, HubSpot, whatever we're using. If you've been in business for more than 2 years, you probably have more gold sitting in your CRM from lost deals than you've ever thought about. So the first thing we're asking our clients to do is call all the lost deals that they didn't close. It is a different time. Whatever conversation you had in June of 2018 is not the conversation you're going to have with them in April of 2020, right, guys? So let's just realize that sharing with them that 90% of your tenants paid rent on time, here's what we're doing. You know, you can send out notices that they're late, but you can't charge a late fee. You can't file an eviction. Are you up to date? When's the last time you updated your lease? These are all really relevant conversations with somebody who didn't hire you 18 months ago, a year ago. So that's the first platform I would suggest. We talked about influencer marketing. Real estate agents really want information right now. A lot of our clients are doing Zoom virtual presentations to realtors. They're sharing with them what they're seeing, all the numbers, right? All the numbers you guys take for granted, like how many people are paying their rent, how many showings were there last month, is there still demand for housing? Real estate agents want to be knowledge brokers. A lot of you guys are real estate agents. You would know that, you appreciate that. And so you can actually help them engage in that and become better and share more information. So I think that influencers, you know, real estate agents, financial advisors, CPAs, these guys all should be hearing from you today in your market. We all know about FRBOs, right? For rent by owners. This is that I always believe somebody's renting by owner because they don't understand what I can do for them. That's always the mindset I take when I call them. When I call them, I believe that that is a relationship that I will keep for the rest of my life. It is not call them and decide if they want to buy, don't want to buy. It is essentially, you know, build that value over time. And one last one I want to share, Andrew, because I know we're going to move into, you know, kind of the brainstorming session is vacation rentals. So I don't know where you guys are, but I know in Florida, they've literally outlawed vacation rentals. Like you just can't rent, you know, you can't do a VRBO, can't do Airbnb. So there's a lot of people in places like Orlando calling these owners and saying, what are you going to do? How long could this last? You know, I actually had a client in Orlando do the research. They found out exactly what it would cost to send a pod to the VRBO, unload the furniture so they could rent it as an unfurnished apartment, store it for a year, and did the calculation on how they were better off turning into a long-term rental for a year rather than letting that property sit vacant. So there is excuse the language, a shit ton of great ideas. People are getting super creative. I'm talking to my clients, they're growing like crazy. So verbos, FRBOs, influencer, past leads, right? They're all opportunities. So Andrew, how do you want to take it from here? Do you want to create a challenge for these guys to work? Where do we go next?
Yeah, no, we've got a very natural segue here. Jeremy, thank you very much. And what I'm going to do, guys, is this is just a great way to get started, warm up, at least buy you some time at a minimum to be thinking about what you're going to be talking in these small groups, and a lot of stimulating ideas that Jeremy just shared to help facilitate that. I'm going to hand it to Michael, who's going to kind of set up this activity and give you guys clear instructions. So if for whatever reason you're off camera or whatever, now's the time, you know, to make sure you tune in and catch the instructions so you don't virtually get teleported to a room and not know what to do. So with that, I'll hand it to Michael to set up the activity.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Andrew. So real quick for folks that arrived maybe a little late, my name's Michael and this is Adair. She's to my right. I don't know how she is on your screen, but we're facilitators today from XChange and partnered with Second Nature to bring to you a great experience today. And so just wanted to introduce us as we move into this next activity. Before we do, here's a little quick, fun virtual hack that you might not know of. If you go to the bottom of your screen, there's a little reactions button. And let's give Jeremy a little virtual round of applause, which is a yellow clapper. There we go. Give him a little love. That was, yeah, absolutely, man. That was excellent. I took a bunch of notes and this isn't even my industry. And so I'm guessing you guys have a ton of value that you're about to share with each other. And I think that what Jeremy just shared with us is likely to spring us into more creativity and more ideas that that we can come out with actions for. And that's what we're getting ready to head into. So before we send you into a group, go ahead and grab a pen or a pencil or a writing utensil of some kind. And okay, yeah, go ahead and give it a little wave across the screen or give it a little pen dance across the screen so we can see it. All right, awesome. There we go. I see Karen, I see Alexandra, I see Brad. And here's another instruction before we go into our groups, which is if you do not have your video on, we would love to see your smiling faces. If for whatever reason you can't, that's okay. but that's ideal if we can see you. And so if you're able to turn on your video, great. If not, that's okay. Audio will work. But just as we're getting into this activity, just a little bit of a heads up. So you've got your pen, you've got your paper. Here's what we're going to invite you to do. After we just heard Jeremy's awesome tips and ideas, the question for you to write on in the next 60 to 90 seconds is for you to capture as many as possible business development ideas that you either loved from Jeremy or you think his ideas helped spark your own ideas or things you might experiment with in the future. So the idea here is to capture as many business development possibilities as you can on your piece of paper in the next 90 seconds. And Adair, if you want to put on a little music for folks as they do some writing. And as you're doing that, I'm going to give you a few what we call thought joggers, which are just additional questions to help move your brain along in your creative thinking. So here's some things to think about. Certainty is in high demand. I captured that quote from Jeremy. So how might we bring more certainty to those that we serve? How might we leverage our expertise in a way that we have never done before? How might we bring other business development activities forward that maybe worked previously, but we've let go of? Is there anything you might experiment with that you've never done before related to business activity or client acquisition? What would be an experiment? What's a way that you've been creative or innovative in the past that you might apply to this current scenario that we have? Keep writing, keep writing. The idea is to capture as many as you can, as many ideas as you can. And in the last 20 seconds, give you a little bit more time. I see heads down. I see a lot of writing going on. That's awesome. If you're all finished, I want you to circle your 3 favorite ideas. If you're all finished, circle your 3 favorite ideas. And I see folks writing still. If you're still writing, that's okay. We're going to pause you there. And in a second, we're going to break you out into groups of 5, and we're going to give you 20 minutes to share your ideas. But I want to give you some tips and some heads up about how this is going to go. So we're going to put you into second nature solution circles. And if you just said, what's a solution circle? I'm going to tell you all about it. So a solution circle is an idea generation circle. It's an opportunity for you guys to share what's ahead of you, what's the opportunity, and for you to land on as many ideas as possible, and then to come up with a handful of your best ideas. So when we break you off into groups, here's what's going to happen. The first, you're going to choose whoever's going to go first, and you're going to share your ideas into the group. And then you're going to move on to the next person. And that's it. You're just going to go around the horn sharing ideas. Immediately when you enter into the group first, though, you want to identify a writer or a scribe who's going to write down all of the ideas that you're sharing. And now you can write however you'd like. You could do a Word document. You could do it the old-fashioned way and use a pen and paper. You could open up OneNote. Whatever your platform is okay. But make sure you identify your writer. Go around the circle and share your ideas. And then from there, what you're going to do is you're going to discuss what comes forward. You're going to discuss, are there new ideas that you've landed on based on all the sharing that's going on? And it's likely that there will be. It's likely that your sharing of ideas will create new ideas. So, and if for whatever reason you've gone into this activity and maybe you've only got one idea on your paper right now, or you've got half an idea, no pressure. And here's why. I'm going to take the pressure off for you. If you don't have an idea yet, there's often more power in coming into a solution circle with a lot of questions than there is answers. So if you're someone that only has an idea or two, that's okay. What you can bring in instead is your natural curiosity. So feel free to ask people questions about their business development strategies and how they might implement, and what are their timelines, and who's going to hold them accountable, and whatever your curiosities are. So bring in your natural curiosity. That's really important. So again, to circle back, 3 steps. We're going to break you out into groups. You're going to identify a writer to capture all the ideas. You're going to go around the group and each person's going to share their top 3. And then lastly, you're going to see what you can come up with, new ideas, and ultimately land on a handful of your favorites. When we get done with this activity in about 20 minutes, we're going to pull you back to the main room and we're going to actually have you report out, your favorite ideas. But in addition to that, the writer, I'm putting the writers on the spot. We're going to drop an email address into the chat box, and that writer is going to drop those ideas into the email. Second Nature is going to compile all of them, and they're going to send them to you as in this enormous data set of all these opportunities that you're going to collectively create. So there's a lot of value that's coming in on the end of this call. So hang tight and you'll get a chance to see all that. All right, so again, we're going to break you off into groups. You're going to identify a writer. You're going to share your top ideas around one by one. And then you're going to see what kind of new ideas and favorite ideas you might land on in relationship to business development. So those three steps. Last thing before we break you out into your breakout rooms is the breakout room dance. So in order to get transferred to the breakout room, you have to do the dance, which goes like this.
Wait, Michael, before we do the dance.
Before we do the dance.
For all our YouTube streamers, just so you know, we're actually going to keep one group in the main room. So you'll be able to watch one group here in the main room as everyone's in the breakout. We'll bring everybody back together.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for that. Michael,
now we're ready.
All right. Thank you so much. Here we go. In a few seconds, we're going to be magically transformed. And if you don't do this, you'll probably end up somewhere else.
I won't hit the button until we're all doing it. There we go.
All right. Come on, everybody. Everybody on page.
Oh, that's my favorite part. That's my favorite part. Okay.
That was hilarious.
Hey, what's up, group? What's up, group? Main room group.
What up? What's going on?
Hey.
Nick. Oh, nice. Melissa, Brad, we got everybody.
Yeah, we made sure this group was stacked. We made sure this group was
stacked. Brad's on this group?
That's right.
Oh, nice. Hi, Melissa.
Aloha.
Aloha. Are you stuck in Hawaii?
I am. I've been here over a month. Shelter. That's my backyard, actually.
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
Well, hey, I'm going to move Alexandra so she can get back into the room she was going to be in. And then do you guys want to pick a scribe for this group?
Andy.
I'm out. No, I can't write. Like, no.
Nick.
Don't want to. Nicholas Cook is a great scribe.
Yeah, he's not objecting.
All right, he's it.
He's got a desk right in front of him. He can write on the desk.
And actually, if somebody could do it on a Word doc or Google Doc, that'll save time later, because everyone's going to send it to Second Nature, and
love that idea.
We'll compile it. All right, Alexandra, I got you. You're on your way. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to leave you to this. I'll be back in a few minutes.
All right, guys. Ready to jump in? Excited to be here with you guys. Who wants to start? Anybody write down anything exciting?
I'm happy to start. So it was the best time for me I've been putting off video. So I've been doing, I'm hitting mosquitoes. I have been doing more video, and I would say communication overload, because it's not a bad time to really give a good communication. So I did a video to my owners twice. I do the background of the Golden Gate Bridge. So I tell them I'm coming to them from San Rafael, where I live and work, which is a little white lie. I've learned how to be a virtual CEO. So communication, I did one to my vendors. I did one to my tenants. A lot of people have been doing this, but I've been going to PM Grow and these conferences, always talking about doing it and never doing it. So now I'm doing it. And I delegated to my VP of operations to do one on the new law that's coming in California called AB 828. It's not a good law. We won't talk about that. The other thing is I've been asked as an expert to be on a Zoom call with all the small realtor companies, brokerage houses. So only myself and one other property manager were asked to go on that call. I was very quiet and listened until I was called on. But the guy that was in my same position was talking the whole time. So it really kind of rose us above. I've also encouraged my team to all get on LinkedIn, to all get on Facebook together, and to really reach out to other groups. So it's not just me, there's 19 of us. So I've encouraged them all to do that as a good form of marketing, and to Zoom in the meetings as the Chamber of Commerce memberships and all these things that are now doing Zoom socials, so that the Prandy person wearing a Prandy shirt at all these events. So those are some things that we've really jumped in. We're doing weekly staff meetings on Zoom, team meeting. I just got off a team meeting this morning for some refresher courses on things we're doing. So we've really taken advantage of this for sure.
Love it. I'm gonna tell Jordan that you went to PM Grow and you still didn't do video, and it took this to get you sending out videos.
That's true.
You're gonna love it. It's awesome. Good job. One small thing about LinkedIn, Melissa, that I want to share is, you know, when you have a LinkedIn profile, you obviously put your job and all that stuff, but you're able to put a headline, right? So like when somebody gets a request from you, or you leave a comment, or you like something, they get to see like a headline that you can customize. So mine says helping property management companies scale their sales, right? So I would encourage you to, all of you guys, right? Tell all your clients, are one of the terms we're using these days, we're actually telling our BDMs not to introduce themselves as a BDM, but to introduce themselves as a landlord advocate, because landlords don't have a lot of advocates these days, right? And so they've been villainized. So when we call, we actually introduce ourselves as a landlord advocate. So it's a fantastic way. If you can work that in the headline, you can get all these people to say, you know, landlord advocate for San Francisco area, whatever makes sense for you guys. Use that real estate strategically.
Especially at this time with all that's going on.
Yeah.
Good idea. I'm writing it down.
Great.
I'll go. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Awesome. So love the landlord advocate. That's a great little nugget for sure. So one thing that I've been doing, we have, and Brad's on the call. Brad manages all of our BDMs. We have a handful of BDMs, but I spend a lot of time in the new development realm. So single family rental communities and multifamily communities. So what's happened, because construction's really fallen off, construction prices have gone down. So I've gone back to people that I put together pro forma work for, because we're not seeing rent prices go down, but we're seeing construction costs go down and land prices go down. So people that weren't able to get properties put together before because of cost, now they're starting to make sense. So I'm going back to them and saying, hey, look at this pro forma now with a 15% reduction in land costs and 20% construction. Rents are the same. So this project makes, you know, was a 5 cap, now is an 8 cap. Makes a lot of sense to go ahead and do the development. And that's been great. I've picked up we've got 3 new communities going right now because of that. We're trying direct mail. That's something we've done in the past, but haven't done in a while. We just want to try it again. We found somebody else that's doing it in Georgia that's having a ton of success. So we're going to try that. And then another thing that's been great is setting up notifications on bigger pockets. So if a landlord out there says something about property management and maybe a market that we're in, then we'll get notified, and then we can jump in on that chat and start discussing what's going on. And that a lot of the time leads to you know, potential new leads. So those are kind of the 3 things that I like that we're doing that's different, that seem to be working pretty well.
That's some creative stuff. Andy, I'm compelled to share with you something I heard yesterday on a call in Scale Club, and that was that somebody in an Arizona market has like 4 giant housing developments being built in their town, and they have a bunch of spec homes. So they called the office and they said, hey, if you guys don't want to sell that home, because you can only, you know, right, when you rent a house, you can have milk every day, or you can have a barbecue once, right? So, you know, if you sell that home, you never get to resell it for more. And so they're calling these development companies, offering to rent their spec home for a year. They called 3 companies. One of them gave them 4 houses. So,
yeah.
You
No,
know,
that is starting to happen. I mean, that's what happened in 2008. There was a lot of inventory Unfortunately for us, which is fortunate for the housing market, inventory levels are still pretty darn low compared to what it was like in 2008. Now in 2, 3, 4 months, that might be different. So that is definitely on the to-do list once we start seeing inventories level going up in markets.
Yeah. Great
Thank
stuff.
you.
I'll go next. It's Brad. I want to just reiterate what Melissa said. I think personalized video, especially now when we're all basically quarantined in our homes, is extremely important. Clients, prospects are getting bombarded with your typical phone calls and emails. I think any salesperson, business development person that takes the time out to personally introduce themselves, offer something different is important. Going along with that, I think we all have collateral, but oftentimes it's not personalized. So if you can update your collateral that talks about your company, how you can serve and provide a better service for your prospects and clients, and most importantly, when people want certainty and they have so many choices, defining how you are different or how you believe you differentiate yourself is extremely important. So we may have collateral that kind of, I'll use the word throw up. You throw up all the things that you can do for a client, but how can you tell them why you're different? How you differentiate yourself from other vendors, other services, other competitors. And then I'm sure a lot of people do this, but I think now more than ever, and you had mentioned this, really people want certainty. They want knowledge right now. There's not a lot of it out there. So just like we're doing this Zoom call right now, maybe get prospects and clients together and do Zoom type white papers or Google Hangouts with a specific white paper where you're sharing market specific local marketing information and things like that. My others have kind of already been shared, but those would be the key ones.
That was good. You're right. It's the time to build relationship. I say planting seeds right now, you're planting them in more fertile ground than you were, in December of 2019, right? There was so much noise, you know what I mean? Like they were hearing from everybody. We know a lot of people have retracted. So I always say like a seed planted in a time of chaos is a seed planted in more fertile ground. So I definitely
add to that in one point is that my son is the BDM. So y'all probably know my son, Matt. I know Matt and Nick hang out. They wait in line for ribs in Austin. But anyway, he is doing actual prospect Zoom meetings with potential clients, and it's going really well. We added to our website an easy way to make appointments for prospects, and it's going really well. And so I do encourage that. I wasn't sure that would really fly, but then I didn't think people would make appointments, especially older people, on his calendar on the website, and they're doing that too. So I find myself best to get out of the way, but it's working. And the Zoom idea for prospects that Brad, you alluded to as far as multiple, he's doing one-on-one, and it's going really well.
Great. The only other thing I would add is Facebook industry groups. So joining very specific, investor groups, local groups like that. A lot of people aren't doing stuff like that. I think now is a critical time to really sharpen your social media skills, or at least get involved in groups, because you can't go out to live networking events and things like that.
It's so funny that you say that, Brad, because it feels like a year ago, but it was like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, I told the team, everyone's just going to be at home. Like your social media opportunity is bigger than ever. Like we should be telling everybody to just go suck up as much oxygen as possible, because what do people have to do? They're either watching TV or they're on social media, right? So yeah, all this stuff, like people are busy, they're doing their things, they're traveling. None of that is happening. So that's a really poignant opportunity for sure. Nick, we've all been waiting for you to bless us with your ideas.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing a lot of the things that everyone else has kind of already been touching on. We've been doing videos for a while, so that's been something that we've continued to do. We've really used this opportunity to try to, create a sense of calm and peace with our clients and kind of try to be ahead of their questions, especially where we are. We've just seen like local ordinances, county ordinances, state ordinances, and then, congressional ordinances. And so just responding and navigating to that and keeping them up to date has been key. But we've also been like really kind of focusing more internally about like how we're restructuring some of the process. So we're really using this as an opportunity to kind of introduce concepts, whether it's like how we're leasing the properties or even language within our PMA, to basically just not let a crisis go to waste, to basically try to get people warmed up to ideas, because by doing this, it's going to make us actually more efficient as we move forward, so that when we do continue to bring on business, which we haven't seen a drop off oddly, we can be a little bit more leaner. So, we've eliminated 2 positions in our company currently, and don't think we're going to have to replace those. So that's actually pretty nice from a standpoint, because then that allows us to use those resources somewhere else, ideally with, improving the client experience or even increasing our remote team, because we do have 3 team members that are down in Mexico, and it's just about, again, delivering value to the clients. So we've been looking a lot more internally than we have really changing our tactics from a sales standpoint, because we already do a lot of those things that you guys are talking about already. We already have trigger words on Bigger Pockets. We already have a lot of outbound kind of activity, and we are going to try to set up more of our social media stuff by doing sponsored stuff though, versus just kind of letting it be organic.
I'm curious, Nick, what were the positions you let go of, if you don't mind sharing that?
Yeah, so we had 2 leasing agents that were full-time, and we basically just eliminated one because we basically used this opportunity to go fully to Rently. We had previously given owners kind of the option, and now with COVID stuff, we've basically said, hey, now it's not an option. We're doing this for all the properties, so we were able to kind of eliminate 1 leasing position there. And then we also consolidated the BDM work to 1 person instead of 2 people, just because we didn't feel like we needed to have 2 people at that point in time. We will probably go back to 2 people at some point, but there really was just not enough lead generation for 2. And part of that is because we were breaking into a new market, right? So we had really strong lead flow in our core market, but we've started operating in Vancouver, Washington as well. And, that takes a little bit more time to get things going. And so now we're good to go.
The one area that we haven't talked about that I think is really, really important right now Nick, you're doing a lot of things we're talking about, but here's an area that I found was really important, was to keep my team positive. So, the first week we struggled with it, and then I watched the attitudes and the personalities, and we've been doing theme staff meetings. So the first one we did, sorry, there's a mosquito. First one we did was, Aloha theme, because I'm in Hawaii. So they all dressed in Aloha theme. Matt came in board shorts and a surfboard, and I came into the room with Beach Boys playing. Then the next week I delivered every single team member at their home a dozen Bettini Nothing Bundt cakes. And then they had to take a picture and share it. So then we put it all together like we were sharing it. I've seen a lot of camaraderie and a lot of really good, and it's 5 weeks now, right? So every week we've done something new. The VP of operations put together, what are you doing in your free time? And we put she put a video collage together and then sent it to everybody last Friday. I don't know what she's doing today. We have really tried to keep the spirit and encourage, even sometimes when we had come to staff meeting as a Prandy team member, wear your Prandy shirts. So we were all wearing our Prandy gear. I couldn't because I didn't bring it with me. But I think we have to keep the idea that it's really hard for everybody, including all of us, but we need to be the leaders and really bring positivity to our teams. And that's something that I don't hear a lot of people saying in our group, in our Zooms, but I think it's really important. Find ways to really encourage them, and really one-on-one time to see what we can get their ideas and let them be creative for us.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. We started a meme competition for Monday memes. Basically, people can create a property management related meme. And so they're going to win Amazon gift cards for those. So basically every Monday, people can bring some memes that they've made using a meme generator for property management to kind of help lighten things up a little bit.
See, I like that. That's a great idea.
I may be
We did
stealing
that. We dressed up. Matt had on, he's our video. We did the video tours of everyone, our availabilities right away. And then we had to name that person. Like we gave him a name for a superhero. And then we had a contest for all the employees to name that hero. And then we announced the first place and second place winners. And they also got a prize. So that was really fun to do.
Those fun culture ideas, it impacts morale, and the morale of whoever's talking to your customers is not something to be underestimated. So I appreciate you sharing that. If you don't mind, actually, everyone is shared, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'd love to ask a question I think could be good discussion before we kind of hone in on if there's a top takeaway to bring to the rest of the groups when they come back in the Zoom room. And it's, what problems are you seeing that landlords either have always had or newly have that are hyper relevant all of a sudden, or things that you did that were, hey, it was a step level improvement over do-it-yourself landlord, but now the importance of that has really increased. What are the things that you feel are hyper relevant that you're differentiating on as a professional property manager versus a self-managed landlord or wherever your clients are at?
I can go. In California, it's easy. We have a bunch of new laws. So we already started reaching out to what we call our lease-only clients are all getting communication from us. And we're offering some tweaked services for them. But we are so up on what's going on in the county and in the cities and statewide. So we are coming out as the experts on we have a new one called AB 828, which is trying to reduce rents across the board 25% for everybody, every landlord. So we are in the front lines, and I think that makes them think of us. So I think that's, being an expert, as I think Jeremy was talking about, it's a critical time to be an expert.
I think it seems like a cliche a bit, but I think it's proactive communication. I think now more than ever before, and it kind of ties in with Melissa, find something that you can be their expert on, create certainty. If we're not certain about what's going on with the economy, make sure that the owners are certain about what's going on with their assets. So it may mean looking at scheduling more meetings with your owners and investors and just making sure that they're very clear about all of the things that you've put in place to manage everything from maintenance, because we don't live in the same state that we lived in before. Everything is changing. So they need to understand how we have changed the way we conduct business to ensure that their assets are being managed appropriately. So I think it's just making sure that your communication, whether it be on your website or the meetings you have with them, are more succinct and complete, comprehensive than ever before.
Nick, has anything come up for you on that, or?
Honestly, we're kind of in a similar situation to Melissa in that, we're kind of in the land of regulation and reactive politicians. And so there was a huge point of confusion in mid-March because, the city and the county in Portland rolled out rules within 24 hours of each other that conflicted. And then we had all these rogue cities doing stuff because we have a governor that is not very proactive and is kind of not decisive. And so you started having all these rules just pop up all over the place. And so we were trying to communicate that as quickly as possible to owners as it evolved. I think that's given them some peace of mind. Also, we sent out a lot of surveys to tenants kind of mid-March to gather, projections on what we would expect rents to be like for April and May. And we were able to share that information with our owners to kind of help them understand that, hey, it's actually we're not looking at a BIS like you think, at least not in the immediate, next 30 days. So I think that helped. But yeah, it's just been communication and just creating clarity because of just the fracturing of some of the rules.
Yeah, it's really funny you asked that question, Andrew. If I can just take a minute, I feel like most of my conversations with our clients and managers is reminding them that what they take for granted and what they've always thought was status quo is more relevant than ever, right? Like, so repackaging showings as contactless showings, right? Talking about the idea that you have virtual ways and technology to pay rent, like we just think this is table stakes, right? But self-managers are still getting like checks in the mail and they're, like whatever they're doing, and they're still going to showings. They're wondering how they can rent a property. Like they don't have any of this information, right? And so, setting up the automatic payments, right? Like having a state-of-the-art lease, understanding how to stay compliant with fair housing, but also changing screening with the new environments, right? This is stuff you guys are all doing that we just take for granted. So I chuckle. I'm like, so much of what my conversations are these days is reminding that what you take for granted is actually a killer value proposition right now.
That's awesome. Well, hey, this, the YouTube group will get to hear this top nugget twice, which isn't, hey, you always want the top learnings heard multiple times. But as a group here, is there something that's resonating? Are there 1, 2, 3 or ideas you're circling that you think the larger group, when we have everyone come back and say, hey, what happened in these small group discussions that the whole industry should know about? Is there something that sticks out to you all from what was discussed here today?
For me, it's Melissa's think about staff morale and engagement, I think is easy for people to overlook. I know I'm oftentimes guilty of that given my personality profile. So it's definitely something that, is key. And I really liked those ideas. So I thought that was pretty smart.
I like the landlord advocate. That was good. That was a good nugget. Taking that approach.
Great. I like what Nick said about broadcasting a source of calm for your clients, right? There's so much chaos and so much fear out there. I have seen Nick's videos and I like the way he packaged that. He's creating a voice of like normalcy and calm. So I thought that was a really good takeaway.
Awesome.
That's because Nick is normal and calm. Look how calm he is.
It's sleep sound property management, right?
That's right.
That's like your brand, man. That's awesome.
True story.
All right. Well, hey, we're going to bring the other groups back. So they're going to be, as soon as they find the button that's going to appear on their screen, start coming back here. And here they come. The people who didn't do the whole teleportation thing, they're just going to be a little slower coming back. That's all.
Teleport. We're teleporting back. Come on, guys.
There we go. All right.
Alexandria and Adair and Karen. Awesome.
Is this the happy hour portion of the call? I'm not sure when we were supposed to do that.
Say it again.
Is this the happy hour portion of the call? I'm not sure.
We are always happy during all portions.
That's right. It's a happy hour and a half Zoom call.
Welcome back, everybody. We're still getting folks in the room. We got about half of you back so far. For those of you that are the writers in the group, be prepared to drop an email. So as you're coming back, if you were a writer in your group, be prepared to drop an email. And we're going to give you that email address in 30. Oh, there it is. That email address is coming through. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. If you made a new friend, give us a little thumbs up emoji in the box there on the bottom under reactions. Ben made a new friend. Eric made a new friend. Carrie made a new friend. All right. Lots of new friends. Awesome. We still have a few more that are on their way back. So hang tight. We'll wait another 30 seconds before we get started.
So I did cut back in, or I did end up staying on. So they're just finishing up. I don't know if you want to kind of hear the end of it. There were a few interesting.
Yeah, we'll wait just a couple more seconds so we can get everybody back into the room.
So you want to be on is what I'm hearing. Okay, well, let me switch.
Hang tight, everybody.
She was talking to someone on the phone, not to us.
Ah, okay. It sounded like she was wondering.
There.
It seemed relevant to us, though.
It did. It did.
That was the weird thing about it. Yeah.
All right, everybody. So Andrew, how many groups did we have?
Oh, that's a good question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups.
5 groups. So everybody, that means we should have 5 emails that are about to go to the email address that is in the chat box. And that email address is sfrxchange@secondnature.com. And again, if you could drop it again, Adair, in the chat box. So those of you that were writers capturing all the brilliance that you just share with each other, you're going to share all that brilliance in an email, and you're going to drop it to sfrxchange@secondnature.com. And again, if you need that email address, it is in the chat box. So if you could I'm going to give you 30 seconds to copy and paste your ideas into an email and to share that again at sfrxchange@secondnature.com. And the purpose is for the entire benefit of all of us. And so what's going to happen again is that after Second Nature gets all of these ideas, they're going to compile them into one data set for you. And we're going to send them back out to you in the next probably 48 hours. And so one last time, if you were a writer in your group, if you could send that email with all the ideas that you came up with to sfrxchange@secondnature.com, that would be awesome. And we're going to move right into the debrief, which is just to share some of the highlights and brilliance that came up from your groups together. And so we'd love to hear from 4 or 5 of you, just, an idea or 2 that stood out to you as being particularly helpful. And yeah, well, go ahead. You can either raise your hand or just unmute yourself. And we'd love to hear from, if, again, 4 or 5 of you, some really brilliant ideas. Tyler, did you want to say something? Okay. Let's see, I thought I saw a hand go up.
We was in group 4. We had 3 main takeaways, which one was do webinars and include influencers in those webinars. So just, become a resource. And along with that, over communicate with your existing client base. Right now, we have an extremely captive audience. They want to hear from us. Some of them want to hear from us multiple times a day, but there's so many things happening in the news so quickly. Being the person that over communicates what's going on is really going to set you apart, I believe. And then in general, assert expert dominance. So whether it's a marketing campaign that you're doing right now, an email, a educational video, assert your expert dominance. Those are our 3 takeaways.
Very good. Thank you so much for sharing, kicking us off. Very good. All right, who wants to go next? Who wants to share next? And I'm toggling between screens here, so if I miss your hand, go up. It looks like Melissa's hand is going up. Go for it.
The one thing that I brought up in our group that I think is really important for all of us is keeping our teams positive, themed staff meetings, and doing little, we've done a lot of things together as a group, because I think this is weighing on, now we're in week 5, it's weighing on a lot of our shoulders, but imagine what it's doing to our teams that are hearing the stories, why people can't pay rent and other stories that are not so great. So keeping your team positive by ways of having a themed staff meeting. Nick shared he had a contest for the staff meeting for memes. I think there are a lot of things we can do to keep smiles on people's faces. I delivered nothing martinis to all my team to their home last week, and that was great. They had to take a picture and then we shared it. So really keeping our teams in a positive attitude and light as we move forward is very important for morale.
Love it. Love it. So important. I really appreciate that. That's great. And again, because we can't really clap for each other, we're just going to do some virtual clapping for the first few folks that went out. If you want to unmute and give a little clap, you can. Thank you, folks, for sharing. Who else has a hand up? Again, I'm toggling back and forth, so just bear with me if I miss your hand. Keep your hand high or just unmute yourself. Alex, go for it, buddy.
Yeah. I'd love to just talk briefly about something that I have done more recently in the past 6 months that has been really, really big and has been a huge tool for us. As you guys can see, I have this little background right here behind me, and that is my Facebook group. It's a local Facebook group for Colorado Springs called the Landlord Forum. And one of the things that I love about it so much in terms of acquisition and kind of just being branded as kind of the PM of my area is that it's like a non-invasive, non-offensive way to connect with so many different parties, investors, real estate agents, So when I'm marketing, and there's so many different things you can do. You can do mailers and emails, and there's 1,000 ways to touch people. But what we're trying to do is, instead of marketing as Dorman Real Estate Management, we're marketing as this group. So it's non-invasive. It's like, oh shoot, there's free value, and I do weekly videos that get posted on that group. There's lots of conversation about what's going on legislatively or whatever, where they wouldn't get that information otherwise. And so they're getting that free value, but they're also, in kind of a passive way, being reminded that Dorman is moderating that group, and I'm kind of constantly in front of them. And so again, it's like a non-offensive way to say, here's some free value. You don't have to hire me. I'm going to give it to you anyway. But if you decide that you're tired of self-managing, or you need an agent that a PM that you want to refer to, if you're a sales agent, this is the guy that is the expert in the area. So that's been huge for us. And I've only been doing it for about 6-7 months now. And we're just continually growing. And I don't like hard sale. I don't like being like right in your face. I'm Dorman Real Estate Management. You need to hire me necessarily. I like the passive kind of being sold, kind of selling to folks in our circles without being quite as aggressive. And I feel like it's worked. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. I saw some thumbs up and high fives coming through. And so thank you for that. And I saw a hand up. Carrie, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Alex, I want to tag off on that. I'm in the other side of the state from you, and a landlord doing our own property management. And you exactly spoke to the one piece I was trying to give advice to everybody from my perspective is absolutely what you're doing there. I plan on signing up, and you're in that kind of circumstance, you're going to prove to me that you know more than I do. Because that's what, people that are investors, right? They're smart, they're no dummies, but they want to work with people that know more than them. I've had property management companies where I've had to direct and line things out for them. And that's part of why we gave up. We couldn't find a good one. So good for you. The soft sell is going to work on people. I think I'm like you. And that's why I work with one of our not real estate, sorry, but our law firms in the area, TSH, which you probably know. And that's what they do. They do a monthly newsletter. Everybody can sign up. It's free information, but it's the latest, greatest on legislation, stuff that no one really has time to become an expert on all that. So good for you. Thanks. I'm looking to sign up.
Thank you. Yeah, feel free to copy, steal, whatever you want if you guys want to take a look at it. So
awesome. Hey,
I have
thanks so much.
Question for Jeremy. How often, when you show up on a webinar, do people start just magically getting clients? Does that happen often to you, Jeremy?
I mean, I can't say it never happens, but we have a lot more webinars if it always happened like that.
That's great. That's great. Hey, thank you so much, y'all. It's some brilliant ideas. And before we move on, I know we're coming kind of to the end of our time today, but we got 2 more things that we want to do before we move on. And folks on YouTube, if you're watching, you could do this same thing, which is as you're listening to each other and connecting with each other and capturing these great ideas and opportunities, what's the feeling that you're having right now? And we'd love to hear from you in the chat box. And folks on YouTube, you could even drop that in the comments if you want. What's the feeling that this is bringing up from you and connecting to each other and sharing opportunity? So we've got inspired. Yeah, go ahead and just drop it into the chat box for us so we can know how you're feeling and what this is bringing to you. More optimistic. Assurance. That's great. Assuring. That's awesome. Excited. Yeah. This is exciting listening to you guys. Charged up and optimistic. Awesome. What else? How else are you feeling from this? Proud. That's great. Love not feeling alone on these challenges. Great feedback. That's really cool. That's really cool. Very good. So as those are rolling in, we'll keep looking at them. Hopeful proof that we are the best professionals out there in our industry. Agreed there. Hopeful for the long term. Love that. So as those are rolling in, we're going to give you two last activities to do. The first is going to be a survey. But before we drop that link into the chat box, I want to let you know that we have one more fun activity to do after the survey, which is arguably the most important activity we might do today. And I'll explain why that is at the end. But before we get to the end, we're going to have you fill out a survey. And again, these surveys are just to for us to listen to what works and what might we pivot so that we can provide you exponential value as we continue to do these. And so your ideas and your feedback is so welcome and so important. So Andrew or Adair, if you want to drop the survey in the chat box, and there it is, y'all. You might have to copy and paste it into another window, but go ahead and do that. It shouldn't take you more than 90 seconds. And then come on back and we have one last activity, which again, might be the most important one. And I'll tell you why in 90 seconds. Adair, if you want to kick on some music, we could do that for the next minute and a half.
If you can't click the link, just copy and paste it, or you can even just type it into your URL bar. For those of you on YouTube, if you want to fill out the survey, we'd love to hear your feedback on what future topics you'd love to see. So you can either email that to sfrxchange@secondnature.com, or the link that we just put in the Zoom box for our Zoom attendees is bit.ly/417xchange. So 417 like April 17th, XChange. bit.ly/417xchange.
Awesome. And once you're done with the survey, if you just want to drop "I'm ready" in the chat box so we know that you're ready to go, that would be great. We'll give you about 45 more seconds to complete that.
And I want to express some appreciation. Karen Jordan's ready. Great. Linda's ready.
Awesome.
Just want to express some appreciation because your guys' survey responses, these survey responses are determining how this all evolves and how this all has evolved moving forward. So it's your feedback that makes these things go. Appreciate it. Looks like Sean's ready.
I don't know if this is true, but Andrew told me that 90 out of the last 100 responses actually was requesting me to be on this webinar. So
yeah.
And they're customizing these to your wins.
Nice, nice. All right, y'all, about 20 seconds left. Looks like a lot of you are maybe finished. We got a lot of comments in there. So that's great. If you're not quite done yet, if you just want to finish that up in the next 10 seconds. And then if you are done, I'll give you the last two questions that you can answer. So if you want to grab a pen, we're going to have you answer these last two questions. And again, arguably the most important. And here's why. We're going to ask you a commitment question. And if you think about behavior and results, that's really what results count on, is behavior, right? And so ideas are awesome and ideas get us to the behavior, but it's the behavior that crosses the finish line. So that's where the commitments come in. So we're going to ask you two questions related to that. Number one is, what did you appreciate most about today? And that could be a person, it could be a moment, it could be something from your experience. What did you appreciate most about coming together today? And question number two is, what is your commitment to action in the next, say, 48 hours? Of all the ideas we heard today, of all the awesome advice we got from Jeremy, of all the ideas that you co-created together, what's your one commitment to action, your biggest priority that you're going to commit to? So again, two questions. What did you appreciate most about your experience today? It could be a moment, could be a person. And question two, what's your one biggest commitment to action in the next 48 hours? We got some feedback coming in the chats. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. 30 seconds left. What did you appreciate most, a person or a moment? And what is your one big commitment to action in the next couple days here? And to close things,
you're going to be sharing these, not in the chat, right?
Correct. Yep. Yep. That's right. Yep. And with that, yeah, we'd love to hear from a couple folks. And again, it could be one or the other. It could be your commitment to action, or it could be your appreciation. And we'd love to hear a couple of both. And so whoever wants to kick us off, again, you can raise your hand or you can just go ahead and unmute yourself. Looks like Linda has her hand up. Go for it.
I do. The breakout room that we were in, there was somebody who was sharing how they didn't like being on video, and everybody else in the room kind of just jumped up and was like, wait a minute, you're great. Like, you have no idea. Like, everybody's critical of themselves. You need to just do it. You're wonderful. You're valuable. I mean, it was just sweet. So.
Love that. Thank you so much, Linda. That's awesome. Who else wants to go? Again, I'm toggling back and forth. Go ahead and unmute yourself if your hand is already up. Tal has his hand up. Go for it.
You know, it's been repeated often, but I mean, it's the people on this are the top professionals in our industry, and learning from everybody and networking, and even just the social aspect. It's all plus, plus, plus. Thanks, Second Nature.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tal. We appreciate that. And I saw another hand go up on page 2 here. Alex, go for it.
Yeah, I'm just very grateful for Second Nature. You guys going out of your way to do this for our industry is phenomenal. Beyond that, in terms of a point of action, something that I haven't done horribly well is market this group that I mentioned. And so I'm sure most of us have a very popular citywide Facebook group. Like for us, it's 719 Rocks. That's our area code. And I want to market the landlord group and invite investors and landlords and real estate agents through that group. So that'll be my action point for the next 24 hours.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you so much.
I just got to say, Alex, when you say you're not marketing your group well, and it's your virtual background and it's being streamed to God knows thousands of people right now, you're solving your problem as you express it.
Yeah. And for the folks that are watching in the live right now, feel free to do the same thing in the comments on live, which is share your appreciation for anything that you saw today and share your commitment to action, because we're going to be reviewing these videos and sharing them out, and your ideas that we're seeing on live or even on the replay are so valuable. So please let us know what they are. And we'd love to hear from a couple more folks that are on our call today live with us. Melissa, go for it.
In our group, we shared, Andrew Probst shared, going back to doing some direct marketing again. Why not do some postcards to non-occupied, landlords, self-managed. So that was shared in our group. Direct mail.
Very good. Thank you, Melissa. Let's give Melissa some virtual claps. Yellow claps. There we go. All right, y'all. Who wants to go next? We got time for about 2 more. Let's see. I'm scanning for hands up. Again, feel free to unmute yourself too. Let's see here. Who wants to share an appreciation or a commitment?
I just want to say one more thing, guys, because that was an awesome group, and I'm so blown away by the value and the expertise you guys give. And so I mentioned this in my group. So much of what our conversation should be today is realizing how much we take for granted about the property management experience, right? The contactless showings, the screening, the automatic payments, just stuff that you guys are just step over every day and you think is normal. It was more relevant than ever, right? And I think that people need you, and people are dying for certainty and for information. This is a fantastic investment vehicle. And so I just want to say, awesome, guys. I love so many of you guys showed up today. And even though everyone on this call, which is funny, like you guys are already rocking everything, but you're the ones that are still showing up and getting better. So that's a theme that I've seen in leaders and entrepreneurs my entire life. It's never the people that are struggling that show up and try to get better. It's always the cream of the crop. So it's just awesome what, Andrew, thank you so much again for putting this together, inviting me. And it's just really validating to see you guys already crushing it and saying, let's just keep getting better and better.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I think that's a great place to kind of bring it to a wrap. Thank you so much, Jeremy. And thank you again to Andrew for helping putting this on, and Adair for helping to co-host. And most importantly, like Jeremy said, for all of you showing up, this is the opportunity, which is so neat about this, is that every time we do these, it's a diverse and unique set of human minds. So every time it'll be new, it'll be different, and it'll offer more value because of the unique combination of people that show up. And so that's the invitation, is to keep showing up. Andrew, you want to bring us home?
Yes, I'm so excited to end this meeting 2 minutes early, give you 2 minutes of your Friday back. So I'm going to keep this very brief, but just thank you again from the bottom of Second Nature's hearts. And what's motivating us is everything that we're seeing you guys do as a result of these calls. We're seeing people set up GoFundMes that are raising collectively over $80,000. We're seeing people have creative communication strategies and things that they're doing. All of the strategies that are coming out of this call and the business development, client acquisition, we would love to hear from you over the weeks to come, what kind of results you're getting and what's working, and we'll help keep spreading that amongst this group. or bring it to our next call as something to celebrate, because these are seeming to make a difference. That's really the credit of everybody on this call, because it's your ideas that are being spread and it's your execution that's making it happen. We are playing humble connector here, and that is the role we plan to continue to play. So from that, everyone have a great Friday. Have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we will catch you. Look out for more information on our next event. That's it.
That's awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.